Hello. Just bear with me while I set up. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. If you've just joined, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you can just give me a thumbs up so I can see that you can hear me. Excellent. Thank you, Rita, and welcome. For those of you who haven't seen me before, I'm Naomi, and I'm one of Natalie May's brand ambassadors. So welcome to Thursday night crafting. It's been a little while, so lucky you get to sit with me tonight. So I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I'm going to do a mixed media scrapbooking page. So why we are waiting for a few people to join, because I did jump on early, but my systems all worked perfectly, so I'm ready to go. Tonight I'll be using a stencil and some texture paste and magicals. So if you want to play along, you could use, you can do it in an art journal, you can do it on Hi Linda, you can do it on a scrapbooking page and a stencil with some texture paste, and you could use watercolors if you don't have magicals. If you don't have magicals, you really need them in your life. And all the products that I'm using are from nataliemay.com.au. If you can't find the product there, at the end I will link all the products, but if you can't find the product there, you'll need to email Natalie, because it just means that she has sold out. Hello Tegan. Hi Kathy. Welcome everybody. So just a reminder that we love to see everyone sharing their work and in our beautiful community on the Natalie May Scrapbooking Creative Community. And you can follow us on Instagram as well in these three, as well as Jackie. So let's crack into it. All right, so I've run out of puppy training pads, and I haven't filled them up. So first of all, I'm going to start with my texture paste. Now I have pre-done one, so we don't have to wait for it to dry. When I work with, do scrapbooking, I normally do double pages. Sometimes I do single pages, but most of the time I do double pages. So I'm using a piece of marshmallow cardstock. Now, the marshmallow cardstock is a thicker cardstock and it's good for mixed media. Silly me, when I was prepping my other page, I did it on normal cardstock, which is perfectly fine. It just gives it a little warp. So if you only have normal cardstock, you can use it by all means. It just gives it a little warp, but when you pop it into your album, it's fine. And you know, I do that all the time. So the thickest stuff is marshmallow cardstock, and you can also get Vicky Bouton foundations paper as well. So I'm just going to move my light around a bit and hope that shadow, that's a bit better. All right, so tonight I'm using a stencil from Visible Image. I'm sure anyone who's watched me before knows that I'm loving Visible Image at the moment. Hi Jackie. And this is the Breakout stencil, and I know it's in stock, and I'm using Hero Paste. So Hero Paste is a thinner texture paste, but I really like it because it dries really quickly, and it's good not to have it too thick on scrapbooking pages, just so that it doesn't warp your page as much. So I'm just going to grab a piece of paper towel. Now, to pop this on, you can use a palette knife, but I'm just going to use my catalyst tool, just because it fits in this tub quite easily. Now, I'll just move, sorry if you get seasick, I'm just moving my camera up a little bit. Hi, Susan. Just to make sure I get the top of the screen. I might have to go up a little bit. Sorry, I did test this before, but I must have knocked it when I was starting the live. That might be a bit better. Anyway, it's only the top bits. So I'm going to pop this stencil in 2 parts on this page, and I'm just looking at my other page because I don't want them to be exactly the same. So I'm going to do these on top of each other. So I'm just using this hero paste, and it's a bit like, it's a bit spongy, a bit like, I don't know, what's that icing called? Buttercream icing. Don't eat it. All right, so I'm just using, I love using the catalyst tool for this because I can go over it and it gives me a nice smooth finish there. So I'm just popping the hero paste through the stencil, and I'm swiping it off so there's not excess left on top of the stencil. I'm making sure that it's flush with the stencil. So welcome to those who are just joining. I won't keep reintroducing myself because I'm sure you all know who I am by now. Maybe not in person. I do realise that when I did do this before that there was some magicals left on what I thought was on my stencil, and I'm just realising that it's not actually on my stencil, it's on my catalyst tool. So there's a little bit of mixed colour in there already, but that's okay. So something that you can do with texture paste and magicals is, if you didn't want to add the liquid to your scrapbooking page, you could mix your magicals in with the texture paste and put coloured texture paste through your stencil and let that dry as well. That has a lovely effect, and you can, if you're using a shimmer magical, you can still get the shimmer effect. It would just be thicker. So nearly done there. Sorry, this is a bit boring, this part. Now, if I do miss a comment, just ask again because I am concentrating. How has everybody's week been? I'll just go through, make sure. Oh, excellent, Tegan. You will definitely be onto this texture paste. So I'm just lifting up the stencil. Hi, Denise. And gives a nice, when you're doing this for magicals, what you want is you want a stencil that has lots of little bits, because when you put the magicals over the top, it's gonna run through. I've done this before with Natalie May's hexed ones, the hexagons, and I can't remember what the other one, the one with the squares and lines, I can't remember what it's, Get Squared, I think that's what it's called. That's a good one to do. There's also some art by Marlene of the floral ones are really good because they've got fine details in them. So yeah, if the bigger the holes are in the stencil, the less, I mean, it still can look great, of course, but it just means there's less bumps for the, yes, the grid stencil. That's what I was thinking, that, Susan. Nat's grid stencil works perfectly, and I have used that a lot on some pages, which is why I'm not using it tonight, because would you believe I'm still scrapbooking my 2021 album? So tonight you'll see some old stuff that I've pulled out from a company who's no longer around, but I'm going to use it because I'm doing photos from when we were in lockdown in 2021. So I have to admit, I have been a bit slack in my scrapbooking because I got into art journaling so much, but I'm really liking mixed media. Now, if you haven't seen, there is a new digital scrapbooking album. I think it's an album, scrapbooking magazine out by the Scrapbookers Journal. The lovely Louise, Louise Turner, is doing it amazing, and she's about to start finalizing the details for the 3rd edition. But if you go back and have a look, there's on the Facebook page, there's lots of different ideas, and you'll find that there's a page that I have done in the last one which actually uses texture paste, Natalie's starred one, and the Life of Colour pens. So have a look. There's lots of, Natalie is a sponsor of the magazine, so there's lots of lovely artwork by lots of lovely talented people, and gives you lots of ideas. You know, that's where all these ideas come from, looking at someone else's work. All right, so that is that. Now, the thing about texture paste, if you don't know already, you need to wash your stencils straight away. Oh, I just love that. Yes, Kathy, Life of Colour pens are awesome. And I'm very proud to say that I'm now an ambassador for Life of Colour pens. So I've just received some of the skin tone pens, and I have to say I am loving them. So what I'm just doing on the side here is, because I don't want to rush out of the room and wash my stencil, I'm just popping it between 2 baby wipes to keep it wet, because I don't want that texture paste to dry on my stencil, because it will become a permanent fixture to it. So I'm going to pop this one aside to dry, but I'll just bring it up so you can see the texture there. And the top one has a few blue specks of magicals that was just stuck on my catalyst tool. So I'm going to pop that one aside to dry, and I'm going to pull out this one. So you can see how my page is a little bit warped. It's nothing major, and I literally did this, it was about an hour ago, but just in room temperature. I didn't hit it with my heat gun. You can hit it with your heat gun, but the heat gun can make your page warp, but depending on what paper you're using. So when I'm doing scrapbooking, I try not to use my heat gun. But yeah, the Hero Paste seems to dry really quickly. So I'm going to quickly show some things that I've pulled out that I may use, and I've already matted my photos, which I'm going to pull those out too. So I've pulled these photos out, and these are of my beautiful boys in lockdown wearing their beanies that my mum knitted them. She normally does an Easter beanie, except this year because she's traveling. So I'm going to pull those colours into my page. And then I'm going to accent it with some black. So I've got my photos matted in black. I've pulled out a piece of the Natalie May Scrapbooking lined alphas collage paper. I may use that. I'll see how it feels texture-wise there. I've also pulled out the new Dina Wakley transparencies. So these are the Frames and Figures set 1, and you get 2 pieces of each of these in here, and I'm going to definitely be using some of these tonight. I've also got some chipboard that I've painted with black Dilutions paint, and I'm going to use that as well. All right, so let's move that aside and let's get some magicals happening. So I'm just going to pull out some paper towel. Paper towel is ideal to use, but I think you just go through a bit more of it than you would with the puppy training pads. So puppy training pads are definitely a go-to. All right, and a bit more. Now, I do apologise if you hear yelling in the background. It's the first live that I've done in footy season, and it's Thursday night footy. So when the boys get excited, there'll be some yelling, no doubt. Lucky it's not the Raiders. All right, so I'm looking for blues, greens, and yellows. So now when we look at colours with magicals, they're going to be wet. So I always pull out my colour wheel. And you want colours that are beside each other on the colour wheel. Yellow is your neutral, so it can go with the cools over this side or the warms over this side. So I'm going to be using yellows, greens, and blues. So I know that they're not going to make brown. If you haven't got a colour wheel, print one off the internet. Go the Broncos, Linda. I don't even know who's playing. And so you grab yourself a colour wheel. You can print them off. This is just off the internet somewhere, and I probably should have laminated it. But you don't, when you've got wet, you don't want to use colours that are opposite. So if I use blue and orange, they complement each other, but they also, when they're wet, will make brown. So if you were doing a blue background and adding an orange focal point on top, that would look great because they complement each other, but they also don't, they make brown when they're wet. So dry, perfect; wet, not so perfect, unless you like brown. If you like brown, go to town. All right, so I'm going to pull out my little IKEA shelf here, which I got the idea off Nat. She actually, I think she keeps her Tim Holtz's on here, but I like to keep my magicals on here because then I can just pull them out like this. So this is a little shelf from IKEA. And I'm thinking I'm going to use Nat's range with one shimmer in there because I know that Nat's yellow, which is, it is what it is, yellow, is a good one. And this is my favourite blue, which is the Bachelor Button Blue, and I couldn't tell you what set they're from, so you'll have to look that one up. I think I will go, no, I might go Hydrangea Blue or actually this new Banff Blue. I'll use that one. That's the new Banff. It's from the new ranges, the 2 new ranges, inspired by Canada. And I might even use this Emerald Air, which is from the same range. It's beautiful. It's probably one of my favourite greens. And I might actually grab some of this green, which is also a flat magical. It's a luscious slime. So I've got those, and I may come back and use some black. So I'll just pop those aside. Now I'm a magicals girl. I don't yet, and I probably will, because you know I like to have all the things. I don't yet have any of the sprays. So I'm just getting a paintbrush, a dry paintbrush, and I'm going to use the sprinkle and spritz technique. And you've probably all seen me do that one before, but I do love it. So dry paintbrush, and I'm going to start with my lightest colours first. So I'm just going to pop the others to the side, and I'm going to start with the yellow. All right, so I'll just make sure you can see this. So I'm just dipping my brush, my dry brush, just in a little, and I'm just going to start up in this corner. And I'm going to give it just to one side, and then I'm going to do the same down here. Now you can get so many different effects depending on how much water you use on these pages. If you use a lot of water, you want to make sure it is on a mixed media cardstock, just so that it can take the weight of it. I don't think there's ever too many, Susan. All right, so I'm now going to get my spray bottle, which is here. All right, so I've just got the yellow on for now, and I'm just going to give it, I've just got a bottle of water, little spray bottle of water here, and I'm just going to start spraying. And I just want a really light spray, so that's perfect for a scrapbooking page for me. There's a few little specks in there that haven't activated yet, but I can go back in with a paintbrush for those. Now I probably need a little bit of, don't mind me, I'm just going to have to put another piece of paper towel up the top because I've just sprayed. I do need another shelf, Linda, you're right. I've just sprayed my iPad that I'm looking at comments on. So back down here with a little, and then I've got a wet brush in water, and I'm just gonna, nope, I'm not gonna use that brush. Where's my paper? Where's my sop up paper towel? So that had a little bit of black paint on it that I was painting before, so I'm just gonna soak that up a little. Just there was a little tinge of black to it, so I always have a spare jar of water when I'm doing these, because for that very reason. So I'm just going to activate those little bits there. But what I like about it, I mean, there's things to love about both using lots of water and not. And what I love about not using lots of water is the speckled effects that you get. And I'm not re-wetting my brush. I'm just activating these little specks that haven't. And when we get to the blues, you'll be able to see the specks. The yellows won't show up on the camera too well, but I'm just activating. And it's the edge sprays that give you this gorgeous look. So see how the magicals, they don't, like they will cover the texture paste, but they sit between. So I can just tilt this up a little bit, and I don't have enough on there for it to go far. So that's okay. I'm going to now move in with some luscious lime. And I just have to say that you do need more shelving Susan, by the sounds of it. I just have to say that the magicals aren't really coming up as vibrant on the screen on camera as they actually are. That yellow is probably one of my favorite yellows of it all. Nat's done an amazing job creating that color. So I'm overlapping these a little bit, and because they're next to each other, literally on the color wheel, the yellow's right next to the green, they will blend well. So I'm just overlapping, noting that I've got a little bit more. Now, if you wanted to, and I do use the same brush, I just wipe it off with the paper towel just to get all those speckles off. And I am, although you can't see it, I am wearing my Natalie May Scrapbooking apron because I've had a few too many clothing items that have changed colours using magicals. So now we've got a little bit more water happening here with the green. And oh God, look at that. It's so gorgeous, the specks coming out of there. All right, so now I'm just going to get that water, that brush again, and I have added a little bit more water there. So I'm just going to mix those a bit. I do love where it's different speckles, but what I don't want is them not to be activated. Yeah, it's a gorgeous green, and it's a flat magical, Tegan. So that's Luscious Lime. I feel like it's Luscious. Yeah, Luscious Lime. It's a flat magical. I feel like it's from a Caribbean set. But I will find it if Nat's still got it. I have had it for a while, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it in one of the sets there. But it's really gorgeous. And there's no shimmer to that at all. I've used 2 flat magicals so far. All right. Now I'm moving into my shimmer. So when you're doing scrapbooking with mixed media, I mean probably scrapbooking with anything, unless you're using well, this is the way I do it. Sorry, I shouldn't say that with anything. I probably need to up my scrapbooking game, but I like to pull the colors from my photos into my page somehow. Yes, it is looking very Aussie, isn't it? I do tend to use a lot of greens and yellows with having 2 boys. I normally save, but then when there's a photo of me with my friends or something, I grab out the pinks because I don't use. I have 2 very boy boys, and they don't wear much pink, or they wear a lot of red because their football team's red. All right, and that dust. Sorry, I didn't say what this one was. So this is the Emerald Air, and it is probably my favorite green that I have. And it's actually, the dust is actually gold, which is it's so amazing that the dust of the magicals is completely different to what you get when you spray. So again, a completely different green to the one that it's sitting next to. And I'm just going to get that brush, and there's a shimmer to that too. And there's blues and pinks coming out in these greens. Like, it's so gorgeous. Magical, like I could sit and play with magicals all day. If you don't have magicals, you just need to at least get one. Get one and watch go on Nat's YouTube and have a look at any of her YouTubes, or on the Lindy's Gang Facebook page as well. They've got lots of great things. And have a little play because you will be hooked. So I do have a bit more liquid in there now. And what I like to do, and I'm being cautious of not using too much on this one because this is my Casey Craft cardstock, the one that I did the boo-boo. I should have probably used the thicker one. when you move it, it runs through all of your texture paste, and that's the magic of this. So I've got a little bit of movement down here, and I'll bring it up to camera once I finish with this blue. So I'm moving on to the Banff blue. I love how they come up with these names that half of them you can't say, especially that black. And yes, I should remind everyone that Magicals are on special, 20% off. 20% off is amazing for this week only till Sunday. So you definitely, yeah, once you have them, you're hooked. Linda, I know Linda and I both love them. Yeah, and they're probably what turned me to doing mixed media scrapbooking. Yes, Robin. We've all got a list, don't we? Oh, this blue. Like, oh my God. And the blue really shows the speckles, and it has such a shimmer to it. Like, it is just gorgeous, this blue as well. I really did fall in love with the new set. So I'm just going to mix that in there. Let it join in with. And another little thing that if you want to bring in across the colours over, you can just use a watery brush like I've got here. Add some water, and we're creating a new green over here. There's a bit of a mix happening too, or a bit of a blue. I think I want to move a bit of the blue into the green because I've got two greens next to each other. So I'm just going to get a bit more. Oh, the footy must be getting excited. They're getting a bit loud. I'm just going to do some taps just into the green. Oh, and it's going further than the green, but that's okay. And over here. All right. So that is all I'm going to do on this page. So I will bring it up. I just want to be able to, I hope that you can see this in the camera. And I'm just going to have to wait. The speckles of the edge of that blue, and it is on all the page, is just gorgeous. Oh yes, and the shakers do have gorgeous combinations too. I do have some of the shakers too. So I'm going to pop that one aside. I'm hoping that it... Yes, Chrissy, they're gorgeous, aren't they? So I do hope that they dry quickly because I really would like to finish that one off. So now I'm going to bring back my other page, and I'm not going to do 2 pages. I'm just going to do one. So, oops, this one's upside down. So that texture paste that we just did before, it is dry. It's nearly dry. Like, I can touch and it's not moving. It's a little spongy, but it definitely didn't move the paper as much as the KZ Craft. So this is the marshmallow cardstock. All right, so this will be my second page, and while we're waiting for that other one to dry, I might hit it with the heat gun if I need to. I might pop in, I might keep going and use some more Magicals. And when I do 2 pages, I want that are going to be next to each other. I want them to match, but I don't want them to be the same. So I think I might try here to start with the yellow in the middle. And this might not work if it doesn't. It's all good. It's only paper and water and magicals. And literally, like, these magical tubs last forever. You won't be replacing, if you've got a few colours, you won't be replacing them anytime soon. All right. Yep. Just my favourite yellow. Favourite yellow. I've got a bit of colour on that paintbrush from the last one, but that's okay. We'll just go with it. Just activating those little bits. And then we'll onto the, and I think I might just stick with one green for this one. We'll see. Let's see if I can get a small amount. A little bit trickier when I don't have as much outer space. And I like a bit of the, when I'm using magicals, because they're so strong, the colour, the pigment is so strong, I like to leave a bit of white space on my page. You need to update your sifters, Linda. I've only got the black and the white of the older sifters. So I'm putting a bit more liquid on this one so that they can blend together a bit more. I might get a little bit of that emerald there. Oh, yes, that's right. You can't. That's right. They don't do sifters anymore. Anyway, the magicals work just as well, and they just keep bringing out. It's like they can't bring out any more colours. No, they bring out more colours, and they're different. It's like, oh my goodness, I don't know how they make so many colours, or shades of colours, I should say. But yeah, they're gorgeous, gorgeous. All right. And later in the week, I was doing some crafting online with a friend last weekend. After I had this, we had a bug in the house, so I had to cancel crafting in person. Isn't that right, Tegan? And we crafted via Zoom, and I made a magical background. Just played with my magicals. And I've made it into an art journal page with Art by Marlene. Die cut some products that I had. So I'll give you a sneak peek of that if I can find it quickly at the end. And I will be sharing that later in the week. This is this time of year is the calm before the storm in my life. I've just had my oldest son's just turned 13. And I'm an April baby, so I'm Easter Saturday. Then we have Easter. And I'm just moving this green around the page a little bit. And then my little one turns 4. So, and then football season starts for the kids. All right. Now I'm going to finish around the edge with blue. So this is actually turning out, and before I do that, I'm just going to grab my paper towel. I'm just going to soak up a little bit of this liquid here. So I'm just dunking the end of my paper towel. And I'm sure there's many people who keep, get out, Linda. We have the same birthday. That's amazing. That's why we get on well. We're both April 8 babies. That's so funny. I know there's lots of people, oh, your Easter Monday, there's lots of April babies. Lots of people keep paper towel that's got this on. I have to say I've done classes before where they use napkins, and I think Linda's used napkins before, but I just, it's not for me. I can't do it. I end up ripping things, and I'm sure I just need a bit of practice, but I figure I've got enough avenues to craft with. I didn't need to jump into something more. But yes, you can keep your paper towel with your colour on it and use it for whatever. All right, we're just finishing off with this blue. And then I will pop this one aside. And as I said, I'm not going to be doing 2 full pages tonight. I will probably finish off camera, but I'm going to create 1 full page. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Beautiful. I just love them. All right. Just activating some of those there, bringing some of that blue down a bit. Got a bit of a puddle happening there. There's none over there. The blue is, yeah, it's just gorgeous. And there's bits of pink in there coming out. It's just amazing how they've blended these colours. All right. So there's a big bit of pigment right there. No. I'm not going to flick too much with this one because they're blended differently, and I don't want my pages to be identical. God, I can't talk today. I've had a shocking week at work this week, so I really needed to craft, and I think I wasn't even scheduled to craft tonight. I'm not sure, but Nat said go for it, and I went righto. So I'll also be crafting with you next week if you want to come and join. Actually, a great thing I was thinking of was I would love you to tell me what you would like to see me do next week. So do you want me to do tags, a scrapbooking page, an art journal page? Yeah. It must be a full moon. All right, I'll bring that up. You can't see the shimmer, but the speck, you might be able to, but yeah, the speckles on the edge, just in here, like that bit there, is just gorgeous. Scrapbooking page, Tina. Art journal page. Oh God, I'm gonna have everyone saying different things now, aren't I? Right, I'm just popping these down on the floor, and the other one is still drying. But why that is happening? Thanks, Jackie. All right, so I might just leave this here, and I'm just going to pull some of these out and have a look at these and what I'm going to use. And then I will hit my page with a heat gun. I'm just trying not to. So these guys, I've used half of one. They're great, and there's some little men in there. I'm thinking I might use some of the frames. Haha, Thanks, Christine. You've got two things going on at once. All right. So these are really cool. I might use these for a few different things tonight. I have already painted my chipboard black. So when I use magicals on a page, I really like to balance the page out with black. Chipboard, being it's on a white page, you could do a black, use the black foundations. I think Vicky Booton's got black foundations paper out. You could use your magicals on that. Obviously, they're going to be a bit different and not as the sparkles should really come out on that paper, but you can then use white to accent them. So let's pull the first page up. And I am going to have to, I will dab off a little bit of the liquid. Yeah, that's right, Susan. And this, you can certainly do this easily on a art journal page. I think it's easy for people to visualize how to turn something on a scrapbooking page into an art journal page. I think it's not quite as easy to do it the other way around. So that's why I thought it would be nice to show the scrapbooking page. All right, and look at all that shimmer. I feel like it's a waste, but it's not. I just need to dry. So I'm just going to get my heat tool out and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a dry. To dry the back as well, dry from underneath. Now this is flopping. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but this one's flopping a bit because this is a Crazy Craft cardstock, but it's actually drying pretty well. All right, let me just have a look at the just at the comments while I give that a little bit more time to dry. Love to see an art journal page with acrylic paint with collage paper. Okay, Tegan, that's a good one. Stamped images. All right, lots for me to think about. Okay, so that's pretty dry. So I'm happy with that. Now, if you have bits of Lindy's that haven't activated, and I can certainly, no, I think I did really well. So the thing is that they'll rub off on your hands. Lindy's, my hands are pretty clean considering I've been using Lindy's, but there's a little bit there. They will rub off on your hands and onto your clothes. So now I actually think that it's hard to scrapbook when you're live. Harder to scrapbook when you're live on a Facebook page, on a live Facebook, because you have a bit more thought that goes into scrapbooking than art journaling. So yeah, anyway, I will get there. So I'm probably going to put the photos there, and then I'm going to get my chipboard out. Now, we all have old chipboard. I love Nat's got like a mesh one. I can't remember what it's called, like a grid one, which I have used on a lot of scrapbooking pages. This one is one that is not a Natalie May one. It's an old company that's gone belly up. But it was a COVID one. So I had it at home and I kept it for this page. So it's got, I've actually used the Dylusions Shimmer Black. I wanted to tie in the shimmer with this and still the black. And then I will put these little bugs somewhere up here. And they just give the page a little something. So when I put these on here, the photos, I always pick them up, lift them up a bit. And a few ways to do that is using your foam tape. But because this has liquid on it, it's still fine to use your double-sided tape. But I also like to use a bit of old cardboard. Sorry, I've lost my words because I was trying to look for something. So you all probably have got a pizza box or two lying around from your orders from Natalie May. I think I had a large, it looked like I'd had a pizza fetish at one stage, but I often cut them up. And the reason I do that, and I've just cut one up here, is that I use it to prop up my my pages. So I'm just going to cut. Sorry, I'm popping up my photos. God, I really can't talk tonight. I should have done a silent scrapbooking page. No, I could never do that. I hate awkward silences. All right, so I've just grabbed, and the good thing about the pizza boxes is, well, I assume that's what they are, then what Natalie uses, is that the cardboard's thin enough. I do have, I will show you a scrapbooking page that I've done that I've used just normal cardboard from a box. So, you know, this is a normal cardboard and this is your pizza cardboard. So you can see that it's actually quite big, and that's okay depending on how high you want it. And I have used it just recently, but I do prefer the pizza boxes. So that's another way to recycle your products. So that will sit there and that one will sit there. And all I do is get my double-sided tape and pop some sticky in the middle. And I don't go right to the edge because if I want to tuck something underneath, it's not going to get stuck on the tape. So I just go around here like this and pop that in there. So if you don't have chipboard to colour, you can just cut out you can draw some black things on with a paint pen. You can cut out some black cardstock. If you have a look at the page I did in the Scrapbooker's Journal with watercolours and texture paste, I actually used the Dina Wakley Alpha stamp, and I cut out black pieces of card with it and then used my Life of Colour fluoro pens to make them match my watercolour fluoros that I used. So there's lots of different ways you can add black to your page, but I just find chipboard, you know, most people have, if you've been scrapbooking for years, or everyone's got chipboard lying around. If not, look at Nat's got some of her her own designs on the page, particularly her mesh one. And I know she's designed a few for Dusty Attic as well, which I have here too. So yeah, so I'm going to pop that there. Now, everyone has a style for their scrapbooking. My style is normally I don't measure things. I just stick them on. Normally I don't do straight, but this is pretty straight for me. So I think that might go. So because I haven't taped now, that might be a little bit wet because it's not quite sticking down. What I will do is when I'm finished is I'll pop it on, I'll pop some books onto it or stick it in the album and put it upside down so that all the pages on top flatten it a bit, just to keep that the double-sided tapes just not taking to it just yet. Anyway, so I'll pop a bit, and sometimes I might cut these little things in half, stick them under there, or cut them in half. And I want to use some on my other page as well. Pop one over here maybe. I just thought that was Let's Stay Home. That part was good. And then I've got the transparencies as well. So I might cut a couple of those out. Now there's a couple of ways I like to use these transparencies, and I think Linda actually showed me one of the ways she does it, and she painted the backside of one of these in a acrylic paint and then stuck it on there. And I've done that on, I will show you how I've done that. I've done that on this tag that I did here. So this is one of these transparencies from Dina Wakley Media, and I've coloured it in with acrylic paint on the back of it and then cut it out. So it's still got the shine to it, but it has, it's coloured and it's not see-through. This tag, I don't know if I've shared this tag before, but this is using magicals as well. So I've used chipboard, I've used a stencil with my magicals, and it's really stuck in there with those. And then I've used stamps and visible image Alice stamp on top. So that's just another way to use those. So I'm going to pop these in here, and I do trim my transparencies because even though it's clear transparent, you can still see the edges on a scrapbooking page. So you could add some journal notes into here if you wanted to, you know, you could write with your Life of Colour pen, and I might do that. You could pop that up there. I would even maybe cut it in half and stick it there. A little bit over here or down here. I think I like that side better. Pop one there. I've also got this other bit to use, the circles. Oop, there it is. All right. So this one I could use as well somehow. I might just trim it around just so I might not use this, it might be too big, but I'm just gonna play with it and see how I like it to sit, how it will sit. So I could pop that there, although that's going off the page. I don't think I like it there. Let's have another little looky over here. It might, yeah, I'm not sold on that. I might put that aside and keep that for something else. So I've got those there, got that there. Another little thing you could do is add some little tags. if you've got some black tags. And I might actually pop a little bit of this collage paper, Nat's, what's this one called? Lined Alphas. This is my second or third sheet of this one. I quite like the Alphas ones, and this one particularly. So what I like to do with collage paper, I'm not using it the traditional way the collage paper is. I'm just going to rip, and I've probably ripped too far out, but that's okay. I'm just going to rip in there, and I want to pop it. Yeah, I'll just rip down there because I'll use that piece too. So I'm just trying to add a bit more black in different places to my scrapbooking page. So whether you do that with some writing, a bit of, yeah, that's good. Although I don't want it to stick out the end like that. And the way I will stick this down, you notice I've only stuck my photos down, and that's because I'm pretty solid about where those photos are going to go. I want to see my magicals and what's going on under here. I'm just going to have to trim that off a little. Bit of washi, you could use washi tape too at the side if you've got some black washi tape. I'm also not sold on the transparencies going there, but I think I might use the transparencies for some journaling. I think I want this bit up here. And the good thing about not sticking them down is I can just keep moving things until I'm happy with, no, I don't like that way either. Until I'm happy with how it looks, and then I can go ahead and glue down. All right, so I'm going to stick that there, and like this is a pretty simple page, so I'm quite happy with that, and I don't want it to be over embellished because I want the magicals to be the star of the show. So I'm just going to start sticking down. I'm using my Art by Marlene sticky glue. And before I use that, I'm going to use a simple good old purple glue stick just to stick down my collage paper. So I'm just taking that over to the side here, popping some glue on. So it is important that your page is dry because your glues and your tape won't stick. Now that is not going to stay purple, I assure you. It will dry clear. I have tested it. I was nervous at first, but I do like the purple glue stick because you can see where you've got your glue. All right, pop that up there. And that just goes over the top there. I don't need to use, I could use gel medium, but gel medium is just going to add more liquid to the page. That's already going clear. And I'm trying to avoid doing that. Oh, no problem, Leslie. I think this is I seem to gravitate to like the color wheel kind of things. And sorry, I have missed some comments. What have we got here? Yes, COVID germs. I should write that down there. Although we didn't have COVID, it was just lockdown. Oh yes, Scrap Effects silhouettes. That's a great suggestion, Linda. Scrap Effects silhouettes would be perfect on here. And I've actually used some of the Scrap Effects birds. They've got some black paper and some book paper birds. They go well as well. Anything that you can put black and white to balance the page with all these beautiful magical colours will work. And if it's not black and white, like this chipboard wasn't, just colour it. Paint it with your paint pen. Paint it with some acrylic paint. Use your watercolours. Now, one other thing I will do is I'm going to add a bit of black splatter to it as well. Just to tie it all together. And when I do these pages, I also do like to do a border just with a black paint pen. It's just it just finishes it off, I think, just because there's like they kind of just end. So if you tidy it up with a little border, and I just hand draw my border with a pen, paint pen, gel pen, depending on what thickness I'm looking for. And I find if you do 2 lines, you can rule it if you wanted a straight line. I'm not, as I said before, I'm not a straight line person. I don't really. The most measuring I've done is when I've been creating kits. And if you haven't seen my new kits up online, using craft paper, which I haven't done a lot of, but yeah, the most measuring I've done is when I've been creating those kits. So that was hard work for me because I'm normally just off you go. And I have created, I will give you a sneak peek. I've created a no, I won't give you a sneak peek. I've created some pages using the 49er Market Everywhere pack for the new, and I've just submitted that today for the new Scrapbookers Journal magazine. So there we go. All right. So I still want to put, because I would like to write something, but I think what I might do is I might pop that down there. I might add a few more of those to that. And these transparencies can go on with gel medium is good. I just use my sticky Art by Marlene pen. And they are just, I really like to use these on here because you can still see, gives you a bit of a border, but you can still see those beautiful colours through your page. Alrighty, so I'll just stick that in there, and I'm pretty sure that I am very close to being done, which is super duper early for me. An hour. I'm not quite there yet, but we're getting there. But so easy to do, and I've got a few little spare dots here as well, which came out of the middle of the COVID germs. So I will pop those onto the page too, because they just give a bit of that extra dark contrast to your page. Pop one over here. And here. You could also add some mark making with a black and white paint or gel pens. All right, I'm just going to make a little black wash over here, and I'm going to use my I'm going to use a matte. I want a matte black, so I'm just going to use my Natalie May Scrapbooking colours, and I'm just going to quickly activate that there, and I'm pulling this onto my messy mat because that's where I want it to pull. I could have done that on the lid of my tin, but that's okay. All right, so before I start splattering splattering, I need to cover up my photos. So I want to pop a little bit. Okay, I'll rip these pages in half. So I want to pop a little bit down here around the words. Just a bit of a tap, tap. There we go. The football must be getting exciting. There's a little bit more heavier talk out there. And then I want to pop some up in this corner. Didn't think this through, did I? All right, I'll just pop that there. And I just want to bring a bit of black in up here. And I'm using matte because I didn't want to take away from the shimmer. I didn't want it to be the same as the shimmer words that I've got there. And I think that is enough. I love splatters. I think I put splatters on everything I do. All right. So that just adds a little something to that page. All right. And I'm just going to be careful where I put my hand because those splatters are still wet. But I'm going to grab my Life of Colour black paint pen, give it a bit of a shake. If you wanted to add a bit more dimension to your colour wheel here, you could use a black Stabilo or pencil, which is a watercolour pencil, and you can activate around that and move that around. It won't react with your magicals that are already on there because they are dry. And I have to say, I'll just bring this up to camera. Look at this, the speckles around down here. Like they just dry so nicely. But yes, my double-sided tape is definitely not taking up that end, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to just activate my pen. So I find if you do 2 lines, it makes it look like, and I'm really sorry if you can't see that, but I'll move my hand. It makes it look like you've drawn a wonky line on purpose. And that's how I like to do it. Oh, gone off the page. And it doesn't matter if you do that because that's how it is. So I'm just going to turn the page just because it's easier for me to do my line. I'm being conscious about where my hand is so that you can see. So as I'm finishing up my lines, don't forget all the products except for the chipboard that I've used tonight are on nataliemay.com.au, and until Sunday it is 20% off magicals. So get those babies in your life because they are fantastic. I will have to make sure I do a little selection that I bring to the creative retreat. I'm so excited about the creative retreat. I didn't get to come last time, so and I'm staying an extra night. So that will be exciting. And I'm coming with my lovely cousin-in-law who has just started art journaling. So very much looking, whoa, this is a really wonky line up the top here. I've put my hand in something wet, so. Yeah, the glue pen was art by Marlene, sorry. It is my go-to glue pen. I have 2 sitting beside me in my little glue spot. Yay, Jackie. Yes, it will be lovely to meet some of you. Like, I know lots of names, but I only know the Canberra people, and I got to I'm so excited, Susan. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like work out what I'm going to take and what I'm going to do and make sure that I actually get some craft done. All right. So I might pop a little bit of journaling on after I go offline. I just don't want to do anything while my paint's still wet here. But there you go. I will just move my camera up a little bit. So just look away for a sec if you get seasick, just so you can see the whole page. There we go. So it's so easy to create a background with magicals for your scrapbooking. So I will finish off the other page. And I have to find some photos because I only had 2 of these. So I'll finish off the other page as well, and I'll take some photos and pop them up on the Facebook page. But thank you for joining me. Thanks, Tegan. I really love doing these lives for you guys and giving you some ideas and, you know, just talking through the process. So I hope I've inspired you to have a go at doing some magicals on some scrapbooking pages. So thanks again for watching, and I will be back next week. I will take on board all the suggestions for next week. And who knows, Nat might have another special next week. I have no idea. I'm guessing, and I might show you how to do those, use those as well. So we will see how we go. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for watching, and talk to you soon. Bye.